I was at a point in my life, I was making six figures. I was working a corporate job, leading a sales team, doing really well. Driving a BMW, 5-bedroom house. Like, you looked on the outside, my Facebook, man, I was the happiest guy in the world. Killing it. I'm like one step down from taking selfies on a private jet. You know what I mean? With Lambos that aren't mine.
Yeah.
Inside, I hated every single moment. I didn't like what I saw in the mirror. I didn't know where I was going. I had no direction. It's like I didn't like where I was. I had no idea where to go. But everything looked good on the outside, and inside is just, I don't even want to get out of bed.
What's going on, everybody? It's Anthony from #BeTheChange. Truth will set you free. And of course, this podcast, Blunt Force Discussion. It's, we're getting close to the holiday season. It's voting season. I've got the I voted on my shirt. We've got the guys outside carrying what looks to be a tree topper. Very exciting. But we're going to get the show started first with a couple ads. I'm very excited. I got a friend on this one. So if you can't see already, there's a glass of liquor in front of me. So we're going to get started drinking early, which means, I don't know if we're going to talk about things like crypto, talk about communism, or just talk about being dudes and drunk all at the same time. I don't know. But first, let's try to pay the bills, or attempt to, and there's only so many hand jobs a guy can give. So let's start with, if you notice, I wear a hat every week. I just got a haircut, but I wanted to show off not just the haircut from my boy Pierre, but I want to show off the fact that I've been using Monat, one of our sponsors. So I brought a couple of the products. One of the other podcasts I've done, apparently this also looks like a feminine product. We'll leave it at that. This is the Rejuvenate by Monat. This is a hair oil, face oil. You can kind of use it wherever you want. And then here's just one of the conditioners. They have a wide array of products. They are more tested than almost every other brand out there. They're very high quality. It is also a network marketing company. If you'd like to get involved, as was just up on the screen, you've got bluntforce.mymonat.com. Again, that's bluntforce.mymonat.com. And honestly, my hair has not, there's a little bit. I've always been thinning for a while. It's kept it full, and now they actually have a very specific product for that. Secondly, this is one of our favorite shirts. Everybody loves this one. It's new. Not as popular as the Unveed Lives Matter, which is spelled all the way out, but we're in the first 5 minutes of YouTube, and God knows we can't say things because we don't really live in a free country anymore. Maybe we do. We'll talk about it with the guy that came from communism. But we've got not a single one of us regrets not taking it. Talking, of course, about the Jibbity Jab. So we got this one, a wide array of shirts. Go to awakenotwokestore.com. Again, that's awakenotwokestore.com for 15% off. Use Awake. Simple as that. Check out all the different stuff. Awake, not woke hat, all the good things. And lastly, there's an ERC credits link that I will add after the show. Don't worry, I know you don't have an Emilio. If you own a small business or mid-level business and you have employees, it's called employee retention credits. Essentially, even if you did PPP loan, EIDIL, it doesn't matter. You're still eligible. So if you'd like to find out more, go ahead and check in the description below. You will see the link. Fill that out there. And it's essentially free money, and it doesn't cost you anything to do it. And it helps out the show because we get a very small percentage. With that said, let's kick the tires, light the fires, turn and burn. It's time to start Blunt Force Discussion. All right, it's go time. I'm looking at the whiskey. My boy's got the tequila. So let's introduce him. Let's just start the little bullshit sesh that we've got going on. My friend, who I met about a year ago through the Great American Syndicate at the Great American Summit. Barb, Dave, shout out to you guys. Barb knew that we would be fast friends, and we were I don't even think it was a year. But I'm going to go ahead and introduce the former communist, Marine, all the above, and a true patriot, and also a business coach, life coach, the goal guide. You're the man, the myth, the legend, Eric Konovalov. What's going on?
Hey, man. This is so cool that I'm here with you. This is freaking awesome. By the way, the hair stuff, as soon as I got off the airplane, I was like, dude, your hair looks amazing.
It's true.
Yeah.
Like, I've been very honest. I've had 2 hair transplants. It doesn't really matter. Like, I'm giving it a good look. Like, yeah, I got a little gap there, but it's fuller. I also, you know what I did once I started using the Monat products is I started learning how to properly shampoo and condition my hair. I don't think I've known how to properly do that my whole life.
All right.
Have you ever lost any hair, or are you just naturally thick?
No, man, thick.
You're a dick. So I started losing hair, and I think the thought process is when you start losing hair, don't rub this, like they tell you to rub the scalp with the shampoo because you see more hair come out and you freak out. You still have to do that. It's actually better that way. The less you really rub into the scalp, the more hair you're actually going to lose in the long run. So I've been doing it wrong for too long. I learned that from Monet.
I wonder how many men are actually worrying about their hair.
A
Like
lot.
seriously, because that's never a problem that I had.
Yeah.
It's I think a lot of dudes are seriously worried about it.
Oh, absolutely. Low testosterone is another one right now. I just read a stat. Total curveball here. I just read a stat that the testosterone levels between the year 2000 and 2022 in men, I don't know what age group they said, I think it was over 30, is half what it was in 2000.
I bet you in women it doubled.
Probably. I mean, no doubt. I mean, because all the food we're doing is messing with our crap so badly. All right, if you're already drinking, then we got to do a cheers.
Oh, I didn't know I
All
wasn't supposed to
Well,
drink.
no, you're
sorry.
good. You jumped the gun a little early. Your
you
wife
put
told me to be
tequila in
careful.
front of me,
I
it's,
know. Yeah. Cheers. Top of the morning, too.
Cheers.
So I'm drinking a little Brothers Bond. You've got Siempre tequila. I can't do tequila anymore. I don't know what it is. It's a little rough on me.
That low testosterone.
It must be it. Yeah. I'm 30, I'm 40 now. How old are you?
42.
42. I have the testosterone level, and I have a lot of energy, so it's good. I have the testosterone level of a 65-year-old man, and I eat pretty healthy. I don't get it. When I was younger, I was hypoglycemic, so maybe that was it. So when I was younger, I would eat the fake sugar more than anything else because that was all I could have as a kid. And I'm wondering if that messed me up going on. I also was a vegan for like a year, and I think that threw everything off. Way too much soy and chemicals.
You're a soy boy?
I was a soy boy.
You were a soy boy.
Now you're a beta cuck, so there's that.
All right.
All right, let's get started. So tell a little bit about your background. Actually, I'll let you tell it. So from Russia, go ahead and kind of lead how you made it, because I love your story, how you made it to the United States.
Yeah, man. So grew up in former USSR and was not the best place. My mom got remarried to a dude who was rolling out. Came to America, grew up in Baltimore. Just grew up, poor, man. It was 2-bedroom apartment, 6 of us. He had 2 daughters. I had a sister, me and my mom, him, so 6 of us in a 2-bedroom apartment. It was like we had twin beds lined up. So if you walked into the bedroom, all there was 4 twin beds that were probably donated. I don't know how we got them. I was 9 years old, and I had the one by the window. So I was an early riser as a kid. I'd get up and just hop over my sisters and run out, go watch Bugs Bunny. Credit to Bugs Bunny. That's where I learned how to speak English. I used to no kidding. I used to walk up to people and say, "What's up, Doc?"
What was your first English words you said? What's up, Doc?
No, I'm sure I knew like okay and good and the thumbs up and yeah. We were taught that in Russia. But it's interesting because you have like this vision of what America's going to be like when you're in Russia. And you remember that Michael Jackson video where he's walking outside and like the streets lighting up?
Yeah.
That's what I thought America was like. Like everywhere you walk, it just lights up under you. There's money everywhere on the floor.
You went to Baltimore. You were as close to communist, especially now. You literally right now, communist, like Venezuela and Baltimore downtown probably look about the same.
It might be a really good transition, right? So you got to wean people off of it. So getting to Baltimore first, yeah. Only white kid in the neighborhood, spoke no English.
Where were they, Japanese?
No, they were not Japanese. Mainly black dudes. And I got my ass whooped a lot. Didn't even know why.
Because you had a full head of hair. They were jealous.
Maybe. They all had a full head of hair.
At that age. Yeah.
But taught me some good lessons. Grew up a little bit tougher, and I don't know. It was a good place to grow up. I have no regrets at all.
You used to fight, didn't you, as a kid, a little bit?
No, well, because of that, I think my mom got me into like self-defense classes at 12 and Kempo karate.
Yeah.
Yeah. That stuff only works a little bit here.
Yeah. I mean, if you watch Cobra Kai, like we talked about earlier, I mean, you could beat some I'm just so happy that there's no guns in that show. Like they managed to they hash it out like legit fisticuffs back in the day.
Dude, it's California. You know they're not allowing guns in that
That's
show.
probably why I'm like, how do they sort things out this way through karate? Well,
They even had swords.
they did have swords.
Yeah. Didn't that dude from Japan, he was in a sword fight in the last season.
How did it, not that kind of sword fight? How did they, no, legit, how did they manage everybody besides Pat Morita, everybody's still alive. They brought back every single character from the original movie.
Yep.
It's great.
Yeah. I think they did a great job. It's an awesome show.
Do you know the first season that it came on, it was, I'm like, Cobra Kai, it wasn't on YouTube at the time. It was on it was on YouTube. It wasn't on Netflix. And I look at it and I go, most reviewed shows, it was 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. It was the best. I'm like, there's no way. And then I watched all 10 episodes in 10 times 3, 5 hours.
It was freaking awesome.
Unreal. Yeah.
Yeah. Julia was making fun of me. That's my wife. And I was watching it with my older son. He was, I guess, 11 at the time, maybe 12. He just turned 13. So whenever season 1 came out. And she was making fun of us. Like, oh, you're watching this cheesy stuff from the 80s. I'm like, just watch it. Just watch. Oh, my God. We're hooked.
Hooked. Yeah. Did you actually have your son watch the original movies first?
Yes.
You have to.
Yeah.
Because then it
made
clicks.
sense.
Yeah, it makes more sense. Anyways, back to communism. So you moved over. You got in a little bit of karate, which is the total tangent we just took. You're at high school at this point. So what kind of things were you going through just after the transition started?
We're talking about from communism transition.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah. When did you start to recognize, I mean, Baltimore sucked, obviously, in comparison to the rest of the country in a lot of ways, but was it better than communism? Did you notice?
It's interesting. As a kid, you don't notice that. I'm a happy-go-lucky guy. I think that's one thing me and you have in common.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to make the best out of any situation you put us in. So I didn't know when you're living in communism, you don't know what communism is. You just live.
Right.
You just wait in line for 3 hours for butter that you got to carry, right? Like,
right.
And there might not be enough bread for you, but that's okay because nobody has enough bread. So Baltimore was not like that. My mom cried, dude. The first time she walked into a giant grocery store, which is like in Florida, it's Publix. I don't know what you guys got here.
H-E-B, anywhere across. Yeah. H-E-B, Publix,
chain
Kroger.
grocery store. She cried. She had no idea that existed. Like, imagine walking in, there's so much food that you can just take. And we were on welfare. I mean, we got the food stamps. We were Jewish refugees, so like the Jewish community service organizations would deliver bags of food to us. Here's the dude. So in Russia, there was no pasteurized milk. Right. So it might be different now, but back then we're talking late now. 80s. Okay. Yeah. So you got milk in this triangle carton, and you have to cut the top, pour it in a pot, and boil it. That's how. And then you
pasteurize it. Yeah.
Everybody drank milk hot. My mom didn't get the memo here that it already went through that process. So the Jewish services would, deliver bags of food. One of the things that was in there were cornflakes, not the frosted ones, the ones with the rooster, the white box with the rooster. Yeah. And my mom would boil the milk and pour it over those cornflakes. That's right.
That is rough.
That was my breakfast.
Would she also leave it out of the fridge too? So when did she figure out that it was going bad?
No, I think she kept it in the fridge. I'm pretty sure.
But she would
boil it. Yeah, she'd boil it because you got to boil milk.
So
the top is like it gets that film.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, and I would go.
That was the worst.
And I love milk. I shouldn't drink it as much. I don't drink it that much, but I used to love milk. And I went and I got milk when I was in Marrakesh in Morocco, and everything's served warm. And I'm like, gross. Yeah, it's weird. And even when it's properly boiled, it just doesn't taste the same.
Yeah, just some cultural differences, man. So, but my mom, as soon as we got here, my parents went to work. Immigrants, you don't have that luxury. So my mom would go to work around 7 a.m. She was a receptionist at like a nail salon, and then she worked at a gas station. Stepfather got a job at some factory, but then he had a heart attack right away, or a stroke, and couldn't go back to work there. So he became a cab driver.
Yeah, they had COVID shots all the way back then?
Possibly. Maybe they were testing it out back then. So he, had to go back to, he became a cab driver. So I just ran the streets. There was zero parental supervision. My oldest stepsister was 16 at the time, and she went and got a job at McDonald's. Literally, there was zero parental supervision. I told my son last night, like this morning actually, I was driving him to the bus stop, and he has a soccer game today. So he made the middle school, he's in 8th grade, soccer team, and today is a game. But he just made the team 2 weeks ago. So by the time I scheduled this trip, there was no game, there was no soccer team. So I'm driving him today, and I said, dude, I'm so sorry I'm going to miss your game, Max, you know, but I had this trip booked. And he's like, that's all right, Dad, I get it. I said, you know, I played high school football. My mom didn't even know I played high school football.
That's crazy.
Like, no one ever came to a practice. They didn't know there was a practice. They didn't know there was a game.
They didn't have time. I mean,
they didn't have time, right.
Yeah.
I don't feel bad about it. I'm just saying, like, I don't want my son to not, because I saw everybody else's parents there.
Yeah.
And I still remember what that felt like.
When did you finally tell them that you played?
I didn't. I quit after 9th grade because I realized that if I wanted to get a car by 11th grade, I had to go start making money. So I went and got 2 jobs. I got a job at a grocery store. Then I got a job at the pizza store.
That's an immigrant mentality, which is a hardworking, like, let's get shit done, like A to B type mentality. Now, when people talk like privilege in this country, like what quote unquote white privilege, privilege is kind of the concept that, to me, and I buck against a lot of the privilege concepts because I grew up poor as well. But there is that mentality that privilege means that you don't think twice about going, I want to play these sports. My parents are going to be there. Everybody's parents are going to be there. My parents are going to be there. Whereas the mentality of, I'm going to get a job because I need to get this in order to be happy for this, it's a different mentality. That's, to me, the privilege and unprivileged concept.
Well, I mean, the way I get that some people are privileged and there's privilege, but I don't know necessarily if somewhere there's a document in the country that's understood that white people certainly get a type of privilege.
Right. No, I agree.
Or certain people do and other people don't.
Yeah.
I'm not sure because whites in this country are not the wealthiest. So, I mean, if it's white privilege, then what's the privilege there? If it's not wealth, right? Because I think, is it Asians or I don't know who's the wealthiest group, but whatever. It's not white.
Could be China. I think it could be Chinese. I don't know. I'm actually not sure.
No, I have no idea. But I know it's not
white,
quote unquote white, right?
Caucasian.
Caucasian. But I think personally, and everything I'm talking about is just my opinion.
Yeah.
Privilege, in the sense that if I show up for a job and someone else shows up for a job, I would get the job because of my skin color. That may be true for a certain company because the person hiring might have a certain bias or is racist. From a corporate perspective, I've literally been told to hire more African Americans to meet the demographics of where the company was. Right. There was no like official quota, but they're like, look, we got to really have more of African Americans working here because the population who we serve is more African American. I'm like, great, let's do it. I don't care.
Yeah.
There's no applicants. Like I had the toughest time, but so I don't know what privilege is as far as that goes, but I get what people are talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand what they mean. I just don't think it's
I don't think it's as valid. I think there's and fact is, at the end of the day, look at where, and this is the key. We're fast forwarding to the end of this episode, but the key behind it is when you've created success for yourself because you had to find it because there was a lack of privilege growing up. It makes you who you are. Sometimes people can have privilege and they end up in a great place too. Your beginnings does not equal your endings unless you start labeling things like I'm privileged or I'm not privileged.
Dude, it's the worst. Is the worst thing you can tell somebody is because of your skin color, someone else will do better because they're a different skin color, or you can't get ahead because that is the worst. Like, what the fuck are we teaching our kids?
Yeah, and that's the problem with, and that's, again, we keep doing tangents, which is great, but that's the problem with CRT. People on one side will say, oh, you don't want people to learn Black history. We all want people to learn Black history. As true as we can find it. It's true, it's sketchy as is, but to know the best that we can find history. Nobody wants to get rid of history. But telling people that they are forcibly oppressed in today's world is setting them up for failure. That's why we don't believe in, and that's why I don't believe in teaching CRT, because you're essentially giving a reason why they are not going to succeed. And you're a motivational speaker, you're a life performance coach, all those different things. That's not how you coach people. That's not how you work with people.
No, you really don't care about the past. Like, let me ask you something. What's the benefit of learning history?
Benefit of learning history is to hopefully improve upon it and not make the same mistakes twice.
Okay, now let's say you didn't know history existed, right? Whatever history was. Let's say you just didn't know it existed at all. Looking at it through the lens that we live through today. And you were to tell a young person, you can create whatever you want. Given any technology that we have available,
right.
Given all the resources we have available, you have the power to create whatever you want. Whatever happened before really doesn't have any bearing on what you can create for the future. Do you think we'd be better off as a country or worse off?
Worse.
Why?
Because then you're going to have to learn all your own lessons. You're going to be making the new mistakes all over again. You're not going to be able to build off the past. So that would be my opinion on that one. Dreaming is great. Dreaming is great. And I think that's why it's important to find a middle ground. Understanding, like, I don't think there is a proper answer to that question is what I'm saying. I think being able to say there is no limitations, do whatever you would like, but you can reference something to learn, to give a base, I think would be my point.
Yeah, I mean, The Art of War, that book, right? I mean, the reason why they can win wars is because of all the lessons that you can learn from the book. And I get obviously the benefits of learning history because it repeats itself. But I also don't understand how people today can look at what happened 400 or 500 years ago and say, because of that, this is what you're living through today.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be a victim, it seems like.
It's the in thing right now.
Easy.
Well, what is that one phrase? Tough times create tough people. Good times create weak people, and it's just this cycle. So I think we're in the phase where we're just creating weaker people and more struggle.
But it's not good times.
Well, right.
You having a good time?
Well, we had a good time, and then it just
yeah.
weakened us. I think things were going well, and I think it's an ebb and a flow. I had a very interesting conversation with one of our last guests, Taylor, when we went out afterwards, and very fascinating that like things grow in these like certain amount of years, like a pattern. And he did it based on all the way from kind of back to biblical ages, but we are at the end of this pattern where it's essentially like there has to be revolution, and I mean there's no other way to look at it. And I think it's interesting that I've been meaning to do research on Brazil today. We're not seeing what's going on there. Obviously, the presidential elections just happened. The guy that was a criminal won. He was a criminal for corruption. He won by 2.5 million votes. The margin for error because of the uncounted, which they list, was 5.5 million votes. And I mean, they're as close to Venezuela at this point as possible. And now they're having essentially a revolution there. People are protesting, and it's not being broadcast anywhere because if they can get America to support it, once America joins in fully on like the trucker strike in Canada, then full revolution happens. And I'm almost under the. I mean, what do you think? Do you think we're due for a revolution at this point?
Not with all these soy boys, man.
Yeah.
I think the government did a really good job making people dependent on it. Mm-hmm. And now people look at it like, well, the government has to do this and the government has to do that. It's interesting. I was meeting with a local like business networking, you can call it. It's a business alliance to figure out if it makes sense for my business to join it. And so I'm meeting with the president. This meeting just happened yesterday. And I said, so help me understand, what's your like number one mission here? What are you doing? She's like, well, one of the things we really do is advocate for our businesses. For example, in our area, the prices of everything skyrocketed. I live in Florida. The community is called Lakewood Ranch. It's the size of, I think, a couple Manhattans.
Yeah.
And literally 20 years ago, that area was a ranch with cows.
Yeah.
Now it's the number one planned community in the United States.
Yeah.
Everybody's moving into it. Prices are skyrocketing. You can't find teachers. Nobody can afford the place. Can't find bus drivers. Businesses can't hire people because there's no workforce that can afford to live there.
It's an interesting problem.
It's an interesting problem. And so she's saying, well, we're advocating to our local and state government for affordable housing. I'm like, what do they have to do with affordable housing? Like, why does the government need to build affordable? I don't get it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're dependent on the government, right? Well, the government will take care of us. They'll do this. They'll do that.
We were both. I mean, you said you were raised on welfare. I was on free lunch. I believe as though I had food stamps for a long period growing up. I had free lunch until I was 14. And both of us, I think, are kind of against government programs, but they are important. At the
I'm
same
not
time.
against government programs.
Okay.
I think there are people who need government programs. I'm all for
Agreed.
helping the people who need it. Like your mom needed it.
Right.
My parents needed it, and there are tons of people.
But
who
how
need
do we? So that's the problem. We've misused it. How do you regulate that?
How do you regulate government programs?
How do you regulate the fact that we misuse the government programs?
We don't forget the people who misuse the government programs. I think it's a small percentage. The government wants you to misuse it, in a sense, the way we look at it, right?
Yeah.
So, a non-documented or an illegal immigrant who comes in, what happens? Free healthcare, free food, free place to stay, free everything, but they broke the law. Like my family came through an immigration process. We lived in Italy, we lived in Austria. I didn't know if we were going to end up in the U.S. or in Israel, being Jewish refugees. All of my cousins, aunts, uncles, they're in Israel. We got to be here. We won the lottery, right? So we came through a legal process. It took, I don't know how long it took my stepfather to even apply and then get to it. I know it took us at least 7 months of traveling to get here.
Jeez.
And get approved.
Did you have school? Well, you were nine, you said? Mm-hmm. So did you have, what happened in those 7 months? Did you have any
I
school?
had to repeat 4th grade.
Okay, so you had to repeat a grade. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
I don't think I had school. Yeah. So
It's just 7 months. Think about, we think about like Oregon Trail and pilgrimages across the country. I mean, you legit only 30-something years ago made a trip for 7 months to get to a final destination of living. That's fascinating. It was only 30-something years ago.
I'd say my parents did, right? Like I don't know. I just moved my family from Maryland to Florida almost 2 years ago.
Yeah,
And that was tough.
yeah.
Same country. I know the language. Got money in my bank account. Florida takes the same kind of money as Maryland did.
Right. But it's 7 months. I mean, even if you're a kid and you're not worried about it,
tough.
you're still getting dragged along. Like that, there's a subconscious on that
Yeah,
one.
but I'll just tell, well, when you're going along with your parents, you're going along with your parents. I don't know if me at this stage, because my mom was probably 2 years younger than I am right now when we made that trip.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could do that. Like just
Yeah.
move to a whole different country where I don't know the language,
crazy.
start a new job. Yeah, it's insane when you think about it.
Yeah.
But that's how fucking shitty communist is. People are out.
Yeah.
We're going to take a chance. We're going to roll. I don't know what we're going to do. We're going to figure it out. We got here. Oh, leaving Russia, man. Last I told this story at the summit, at the Great American Summit last year. You know, leaving the country, last day, I remember we're at the airport in Moscow about to fly out, and the cops say, hey, we got to check your bags. They know you're leaving for good.
Mm-hmm.
Found every freaking valuable that my mom was taking out to sell. Cash, everything. She hit $400 worth of money on her.
Yeah.
And they found everything else. And the ultimatum was either you can leave without this or you can stay and keep it. Which one do you want?
Shit.
What do you choose?
You got to go.
4 kids.
Yeah.
You're going to a new place and they just took all your shit.
And why were they allowed to do that? I mean, besides the fact that it's communist Russia,
What do you mean, why were they allowed to do that?
they could do whatever they wanted.
Well, go to Mexico and get pulled over and
Yeah.
see what happens, right? You don't have to go far. Just go to Mexico, get pulled over. How do you get out of a speeding ticket in Mexico?
Give away everything you've got.
Or anything. You don't even have to give away everything, right? Just give them a couple $100.
Yeah.
You're done.
So you
can go
came.
away.
So you guys made it to America. Well, not made it to America. Technically, it was part of the travel. So you left communist Russia with $400 is all she had.
$400 for 6 people. Granted, it was 1989, but still,
That's
I'm
still
not sure how much $400.
$400,
How far that'll take you.
1989, inflation, Bidenflation.
Yeah, so
I mean, maybe a few grand.
I don't know what we did in Austria, but when we got to Italy, my mom got a job at some jewelry store. She spoke 0 Italian. She got a job at some jewelry store because my mom was like a fashionista, you know. Like
Yeah.
Always decked out to the nines. Embarrassed the shit out of me every time she came to a school function. But some lady in Italy saw her and was like, oh, why don't you, come work at this store. So my mom got a job there. I was the kid outside, literally 7, 8 years old. I still remember it. I was with a squeegee trying to wash people's windows. I remember this guy getting out of the car and chasing me and kicking me in the ass to leave his car alone.
That's crazy.
Italians don't play.
No, they don't. Forget about it.
Forget about it. Yeah. No, that was a good time growing up, man. I definitely had. Now that I look back at it, it was pretty fun and interesting.
And now people complain because they didn't get the newest Xbox game.
Did you see that video with the Starbucks employee?
Which one?
Just yesterday I saw it. It was insane. The guy is crying. Okay, looks like a dude. He's got a beard and everything, but I guess it's a transition.
I saw I didn't actually see the clip. So what happened?
He was complaining. They make me work 40 hours a week. Customers don't stop coming in. I don't know how to continue to help them.
Emilio's laughing on this one.
Just upset. Just like not crying.
And they were misgendering
and they're misgendering me. And I'm like, well, I thought that was a guy.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're calling him a woman. I don't know. How do you misgender? I don't know. I didn't get that part.
I'm sure they were calling him a guy, and he's transitioning to a woman, but he has not decided to shave yet.
I don't think so. I think it's a woman who transitioned to a guy.
The fact that we don't know means it's that person's fault.
I don't know. I would have said, dude.
Or you just deal with it. Or you just suck it up and deal with it. Because clearly it's not obvious to anyone.
Right.
But you already get the person. Now, 40-hour work.
Yeah. And so, look, I'm raising 2 boys.
Jesus.
Anthony, I'm raising 2 boys. That can't be the fucking norm.
I don't think it is. So, I don't know what they're doing. So, did you see that post I made about CNN 10?
No.
So if I find a way to manage to have some free time, I'm going to make a whole thing dedicated to correcting CNN 10. So CNN 10, you ask your son. You might be surprised because I know it's in parts of Missouri, Florida. I would say out of the people that I asked, 30 to 40%, if not more, their kids, they went and asked their kids, and yes, they get played CNN 10. It is a 10-minute rundown of news every day by CNN that they play in public schools. Is it as biased as CNN? No. It is as unbiased as CNN can be with these subtle undertones that are very clear, like talking about electric vehicles, but then they'll do their 30-second bit about how amazing they are. As I drive an electric vehicle, I like it, but they're subversively piping in this ideology with true news and then piping it in. They talk about the border in other countries. They don't mention ours. It's really interesting. So I would like to do a every day, do a quick, take their 10 minutes and then correct it. And it's a YouTube. You can check it out on YouTube because it's not like it's only for schools and it's directed towards kids, which is even more dangerous. And it's run by CNN.
So what's the last thing that you saw that you would want to correct?
The main one, it was God, it's funny. I was going to do it the other day. I was going to do my first one of it. It was talking about, it was the electric cars was the second part, which was fine. There was something before it. Oh, it was all about free college, free. It was talking about the student loan repayments. Mm-hmm. And they had a professor from UCLA, one of the schools out in California, that legit was saying, they give it fair. This is why it's not the best idea in the world. Then he goes, I teach my students why there is some economic issues with this. But all of my students know, all of my students know that this is a good thing. You're telling me all 200 or whatever of your students think that student loan repayment is the good thing. So you don't have a single person in there that thinks that this is bad for inflation, thinks that it sets a bad precedence. So he used the word all. That was the subversion technique that's in there.
I mean, but because you're talking about the population that directly benefits by the student repayment or by the loan repayment.
They're not going to benefit. What, are they going to do it again?
I thought it's like, no, where did they cut it off?
It's only right now. It's only people that owe right now. So they would have to do it again for another time. So if students are in school right now and maybe they're a freshman, they're not going to.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought it's a whole new thing that.
No, from what I understand, it's a one-time thing. If I'm wrong, I'd be.
Dude, I had
shocked.
The government pay for my college 100%. I took every single penny.
And if I was a
actually,
student,
it's not 100%. I paid $1,200.
Wow.
For a full 4-year ride.
And honestly, I'd be okay if I was in the position to take it, just like the stimulus. Everybody's like, "Oh, I thought you don't want the stimulus." I go, "I don't," but fact is, I'm going to be paying taxes on it later, so I better. It's not like if I don't take it, it's not still gonna be part of our tax dollars.
No, but the way I did it is available to pretty much everybody.
For what? For your
Free college. I
Yeah.
got the secret.
You came from communist Russia.
No,
what was,
that's
what
not
was
why
your
I did it.
secret?
The secret is the Montgomery GI Bill.
Oh yeah, see, which to me,
But
but
join the military.
that makes it even more unfair. So
What makes
you
it more
serve
unfair?
the country. You
Yeah.
serve the country, and that's why you got the GI Bill. That's why
Mm-hmm.
you got. So now these kids, these adults, got an education, and it didn't work out perfectly for them, and now they're.
Well,
getting
you
10
can't get
grand.
a degree in fucking, mating reindeer unicorns and then think that you're gonna get out and make six figures. However, life's not fair.
Right.
Let's just call it that. I
Yeah.
don't care. They got a $10,000 break. It's not even gonna put a
Oh, so
dent.
you
in what they
don't
own.
care?
I don't care.
Oh, I care.
You know why I don't care?
Yeah.
Because let's say I spend 10 minutes of my life caring
Yeah.
about that. That's 10 minutes away from shit that really matters to me.
See, but that's valid. To me, it matters. So, and
All right.
because I do more political stuff.
Well,
And
that's probably why
Yeah,
you need
and
the hair stuff to
Right?
to keep your hair thicker.
keep my hair- that's probably why my shit started falling
I
out.
don't care,
So that's
dude.
interesting. I would have thought as somebody that came here from someplace, don't you see that as kind of the building block? And I could be wrong. The building blocks of communism and socialism.
I see that as government doing what government, especially on the Democrat side, right? I mean, the reason why they have these programs and the reason why they offer the programs to the people they offer it to is because if they get you dependent on it, it's no different than a heroin dealer
Yeah.
giving you a free sample. Because if they get you hooked, you're always going to buy your heroin from them. If they get you hooked on free shit, starts off with $10,000 off here. Wait till it's Biden's time for re-election, right? What's going to be the new
shit.
good deal, right?
Yeah.
More free shit. We're going to give you this money and that money. And when you ask the question of like, where are you going to get it from? Nobody knows.
But doesn't that run the risk of taking us to where your family left from?
I don't think so.
You think we'll never get there?
I think we might get there, not in our lifetime.
Okay. I think it can happen quicker than people think. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, that the CNN 10 stuff, that's how you do it, is you indoctrinate kids.
The kids.
Right.
But think about Venezuela. Venezuela was rich in resources. People were rich. Everything, and it happened in a decade.
Yeah,
Less than a
so it
decade.
won't happen. Here's why I don't think will ever happen in America. Every single time it happened in history, the first thing the government did, they did two things. Number one, they controlled the media. Number two, they got rid of guns. You want to see a real revolution? Come to Florida or Texas and say we're getting rid of your guns.
Right.
Right.
Well, Beto's got a shot here in Texas.
I'm not going to say
Robert
it.
Francis.
Yeah, I don't, we'll take your AR-15. Dude, he's going to probably take a bullet before he takes an AR. You know what I mean? Like, that, not saying that I'm going to do it.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that somebody will do it. You see what happened in Pelosi's, and then you got on the other side with Justice Kavanaugh. There are crazy mofos out there that don't want rules to change.
Yeah.
And so that's how a revolution's going to start, unfortunately. So they're not going to be able to take the guns from American people,
Yeah.
from patriots like us. Like, I got a few of them. I got a few rifles. I got a few handguns. I know a ton of people that do as well, and they're stocking up on ammo.
Yeah.
Why? Against the tyrannical government.
Yeah.
Like, we're just not going to take
Just in
it.
case.
And by the way, the other side, they don't even know what the fuck a woman is and what a man is. They're not winning the fight.
Yeah.
If we had to get into a fight. So
They're
I'm not
winning
really
the
worried
media
about
battle. 87%, by the way, of the media before the election. This should come out before the election. I did vote today. 87% of media coverage, based on the research that they have done, has been anti-GOP. 87%. That's hard to fight against.
it. Say that again. 87%.
87% of media coverage has been in terms of the news cycle, in terms of how many hours have put out there. I don't know what sample size they use to take that, but 87% has been anti-GOP, pro-Democrat Party, pro-DNC.
Yeah, I didn't test this out myself. I saw an interesting thing that somebody was talking about, that if you just type into Google, a Democratic governor or senator potential senator's name, whoever's running right now,
Yeah.
the first search thing that comes up is their website. If you type in a Republican, it'll have like 3, 4, 5 articles about why they suck, and then their website.
So Dr. Oz, because it's top of mind, his actually comes right up. His website.
His website?
Yeah.
All right. So
Give me
maybe
another
that's
one.
not
What else
true.
we got? Let's try.
Carrie? What's her name?
That's
Carrie Lake?
governor, but I'll try Carrie Lake. Carrie Lake, Wikipedia. Who is Carrie Lake? No. Well, this is a positive article, but it's an article. I can't even see her website. Website doesn't even pop up on that page. Let's look up. What's Hobbs? Who's she going against?
Well, look up Beto. He's running
Oh,
here,
yeah, there
right?
you go. Beto O'Rourke. Rourke.
Beto, really? Is that his name?
Which, by the way, that should be illegal. So that his name is Robert Francis, and the fact that the ballot actually says Beto.
Is it Beto or like Beta? Beta.
It's good.
They're
Beto.
alphas, they're betas.
Beto's is the first one that it's right after the Wikipedia, so it's right there. Let's see what Greg Abbott is. Greg Abbott.
Yeah, and Anthony, once again,
His comes up first. It might have been misinformation.
I don't know, probably could be, right? But
Yeah.
that just goes to show you don't know what the truth is.
No.
We have our own beliefs, and if something lines up with them, we go hardcore. If something doesn't, we don't. And that's one thing I appreciate about you is that your level of awareness is a little bit higher. I think you're the type of guy who asks yourself, why do I believe what I believe?
Right. Which is what got me here.
But most people don't, right? Yeah, because you voted for Obama back in the day, right?
Yeah.
And hope and change, and then you're like, I
Let's
feel like
change
there's no
again.
more hope, and all I have left is some change.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think it's important, and I think that's why people like me and some of the other people that do stuff like this, even on a small scale, are important because we take things to a whole nother level, and we get overly analytical. It does cause us to lose our hair. But I'm also not an ultra right winger. There's things that I question. I mean, and there's some liberal beliefs I have that sometimes piss off our followers. But from the purposes of seeking truth and the overall, in my opinion, what is important in our country right now is for it to go red, just across the board for freedoms. The more the other side talks about fascism and all these, we won't have a democracy, which it's a constitutional republic regardless. We're not going to have the country we had before. It is the biggest fear tactic for voting that has literally with their fingerprints have written all over it, and it's terrifying to me. But let's do a shot seat. What do you say?
I say,
Yeah, I got to refill you. It's time for the Don't Get the shot seat by Dr. Artis Labs. We'll be right back. It's time for the Don't Get the shot seat by Dr. Artis Labs. Again, one of the supporters of the show. Got some good stuff that I brought with me, as you've seen probably on all of them. But here's some of the products. If you would like to check them out, go to thedrartisshow.com. Again, that's thedrartisshow.com. Use BFD at checkout for 10% off. I've been taking my Doc's Viral Defense like crazy because I've been traveling on the road, doing stuff for Fox Sports, all the good things. And I've been around a bunch of people that have had COVID recently, not too recently. Again, Emilio, no big deal. It's been a while. We're all right. But seriously, I've been taking this stuff, and I've not even gotten an inch sick. I've been using my voice, yelling at the top of my lungs. Got a lot of great products. I suggest you guys check those out. And, Doc's Viral Defense. It's got zinc, selenium, NAC, quercetin, all the stuff that keep your body away from flu or the coof, one or the other. Things like Cardio Flow. He's got products for skin conditions, acne, and also Prostate Pro, which I take because I'm 40 and I sometimes can't, go through the night without peeing. Lastly, but now I can. By the way, I'm now making it all the way till 7:30 in the morning. That is a true story. Lastly, make sure you check out in the links below. You'll see it in the comments, or not the comments, but the description. You will see a video with Dr. Artis talking about how to flush the jibbity jab from the system, hence the Don't Get the shot seat. So just check that out. Click the link. It's about a 13-minute video of all of his products, as well as the actual way to get the juice out of the system. All right, let's get started. That's the way this works. I had to explain to Barb after she took the whole shot. It's not the shot seat. It is the sip seat.
Yeah, because this will be a...
Yeah, I mean, holy God, you're going to be dead by the end of that glass. Can we show how much big boy over here, communist Russia?
It's number 2.
You're at the end of that, when you finish it, you got to go, motherland. Okay.
This is motherland.
This is motherland now. Do you think, as somebody that's from communist Russia, do you think the Ukraine war was preventable? What's happening in Ukraine right now?
I think nobody really knows what's happening in Ukraine. I think it's just way deeper than that. I think there's some validity to the Nazi claims from Russia. I think a lot of Ukrainians, especially on the eastern part, want to be a part of Russia. And I, quite frankly, don't understand why America's involved pissing Putin off. And I'm anti-Russia 24/7. Like, I don't like anything Russia does. So I do think it was preventable because they were fucking lined up on the border for 3 weeks. I don't understand why they didn't take their jets and just bomb them. Can you imagine Mexico? I mean, Mexico won't do it. Canada won't do it. Fine. Let's say Russia lined up their tanks along the Mexican-Texas border for 3 weeks. What would the U.S. do? I hope so.
Yeah.
Right? They wouldn't be lined up there very long. And the way I understand it, from what I heard, is that the Russian troops that were lined up there thought they were there for some exercise.
They didn't even know.
They didn't even know. So taking that line of vehicles out, that whole convoy out, would have probably been a good thing to do for Ukraine. I don't understand why they didn't.
Yeah.
So was it preventable? And maybe that would have started a war.
Well, they would have been the aggressor then. I think that's probably why they. I mean, there were so many things wrong with it.
You got to defend your people. I don't get it. I don't understand. I have no idea what's really going on there.
I think a conflict was bound to happen, but I think the fact that we started to meddle, and there was a point where there was a potential ceasefire. They were actually trying to figure out something, and the United Kingdom and America said, "Don't take the deal." And that was when essentially what they're going to get in the long run, after all the bloodshed and death, it's probably going to be the same way. The Donbas regions, part's going to go to Russia, and it's going to end up that way. There's no other way for it to end.
Yeah, like what's the best case scenario here? Do you really think Putin is going to be like, "Oh yeah, you guys won"? There's no way Putin loses this.
Yeah.
Number one, and number two, right now, what month are we in? Because I get spoiled in Florida.
November.
We're in November.
Yeah.
It gets cold in Russia.
Yeah.
Europe. Ukraine, all of them are fucked because they kept depending on Russia for oil.
Yeah.
And guess who's about
Germany.
to cut off the lights? Germany. Oh
Yeah.
my God, big one.
Yeah.
And I remember Donald Trump, as president, warning Germany about this. He warned them. They
laughed. There's a video of them laughing
Angela
at him.
Merkel laughed at him. Yep.
Yeah.
I remember that. And I'm like, I would listen to this guy. Nope, they laughed. And Putin is the guy that has the switch on their heat, their power, and the second it becomes an option or a choice between keeping my people warm or protecting Ukraine, guess who's getting fucked?
Yeah.
Ukraine.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's no way Russia's losing this war. It was a lot of unnecessary death. And by the way, we wouldn't want, they want to join who? The UN, right?
Yeah.
We wouldn't want that on the border of Russia. Like, if we were Russia,
Yeah.
Putin's
Why
not
would you
allowing
want
it.
your enemy on the border? Like,
You would not.
and that was also a Ukraine push in the that was one of the things that started this conflict was them
Right.
starting to reach out to you. But whatever. I'm not anti-Ukraine.
I have friends in Ukraine.
Yeah. What do they think?
So I was working for a company as like their outsourced director of sales out of Baltimore. They had an office in Kiev, Ukraine.
Yeah.
So weekly I would be on the calls with them, and when the invasion happened, they all fled.
Yeah.
Someone to Poland, someone all over. Somebody stayed there. Her husband ended up going to fight. Like, I lost touch with them. I don't work with that company anymore. But in the beginning, it was super scary. And in the beginning, I think all of us were pro-Ukraine.
I made it about a week, not to be a dick, but
That
again,
week. It was the first week,
Yeah,
right?
first few days. Yeah.
And it was so heroic, right?
Yeah.
Zelensky telling you, don't send us whatever, send us bullets.
Yeah.
Oh, don't send me transportation, send me bullets. I'm staying
Yeah.
and fighting. He's a crook too, dude. Like,
Big
he's
time.
corrupt as shit. So here's the thing: we don't know anything.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going on, and as soon as we realize that, we'd be free.
Yeah. Shouldn't be our issue anymore.
not be
Next
our
question.
issue.
What do you think of when I say the word communism?
Oppression, lack of freedoms. I mean, I guess that's the definition of oppression. Yeah, just no freedom.
Yeah. All right. What is your favorite And what is your least favorite smell?
What a fucked up question.
This is a shot. It gets a little weird.
Where'd you come up with that?
There's another one I got after this. It starts getting a little curveballs. The first two are serious. The rest are just funny.
My favorite smell?
What do you like? What's your favorite smell?
I don't think I've ever thought about what my favorite smell is.
Like I love the smell of like vanilla, like a vanilla perfume, like vanilla lotion on a.
I could have looked at you and said that that's what you love
I
the
know.
second you told me you voted for Obama. All right, hold on. My favorite smell, dude. There's nothing like. All right, I marinated and grilled some lamb chops.
Yeah.
Meat, like grilled, marinated, like ribeye or lamb chops. Oof, yeah, that's probably one of my favorite smells.
What's the least favorite smell? What's something you've smelled in your life like, God, I never want to smell that again?
There's been so much. Burning shit.
Like burn pit type thing, or just burning shit?
Burning shit.
Did you have to burn shit?
We had to burn
in
shit.
military?
Yeah, in Afghanistan. That's how you got rid of shit.
That makes sense. I guess
You poured gasoline on it and you burned it, and it sucked.
Oh, I can't imagine how that smells. Mine's throw up. I can't stand the smell of throw up.
Well, wait till you smell burning shit. Throw up will be better.
Valid.
You will be licking throw up.
There's a two-part question. Usually I do the second part and I don't do the first, but do you believe in aliens?
Yeah, you have to.
Really?
I think so.
I believe in aliens, but I don't think I'm in the majority on this one. So you believe in aliens?
Yeah.
Like, what are they like? Are they like other planets? Like other things like us?
First of all, I've been watching some crazy ass videos of like F-18 pilots who have all spotted
stuff.
They have zero reason to tell you why, to tell those stories, right? And there's so many of them that are up there, and there's so many of these files that get classified, you never hear about them. So I believe in that. The other thing is like, the universe is so vast.
You gotta think something else.
And
is
huge. Like, I believe there's a creator. But I'm not naive enough to think we're the only ones that were created. Like, there's got to be other worlds and universes, and it just... I often have thoughts, like, as a kid, I told you my mom was off to work quite a bit, so I've experimented with acid and other drugs. So this doesn't come from that, but... it's shrooms, shit that makes you hallucinate.
Or is it hallucination or think more clearly? But anyways, go ahead.
Possibly, right? Like, what if we're just some germs in some giant's fingernails? You know what I mean? Like,
what if it is much bigger? I can see that. So now keeping down the conspiratorial side, do you believe we landed on the moon? The United States did. I wasn't going to ask this. I'm like, wait, you're Russia, USSR. Like, do you think the United States really landed on the moon?
I mean, I have no reason to think they didn't. I mean, besides whatever somebody said that was a fake video and the flag look. I don't know. I heard rumors.
Do you believe it?
Yeah, I believe it.
So I think we're out of like 20 episodes. Well, I've only asked that question about 12 times. I think you're the second that believes it.
Okay.
Which I think 10 years ago, it would have been 12-12. I'll believe it.
Yeah. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
When you put on your pants in the morning.
Yeah.
Which leg do you put in first?
Left.
You knew that right away. Why?
Because I just know my routine.
How did you know that was your routine?
I don't know.
Okay, but how did that happen? I know exactly how it happened.
How did it happen?
All right, here's how it happened. You were 2 years old in your little diaper. Maybe you just started wearing underwear. And your mom leaned down, or your dad, and they got your pants ready, and they rolled up the left leg.
Yeah.
And you're holding on to their shoulder. They're like, put the leg in. You raise the right one. And they're like, no, the other one. And you put the left one in.
And it just became routine.
Since you were 2 years old, that's what you believed. I believe I have to put this leg in first. Now you're fucking 40 years old. You still put your left leg in first. And if tomorrow I say, Anthony, when you wake up, put your right leg in there first.
I would throw me off.
Oh my God, you'd be thrown off. So the question is, why do you believe that they landed or didn't land? You know, where did that come from? It's all, I don't know.
It's valid. No, it's good.
And that's how all of our beliefs start, by the way, or a majority of them. Some stupid shit happens as a kid, and then you end up believing all this.
True. Now, the last question in this set before the end of shot seat is only fitting because it is the don't get the shot seat, and I believe as though you've gotten the shot. So you're one of the few that I've had on the show. So you're virally shedding on me right now. I'm just kidding. Do you, at this current state, do you regret taking the vaccine?
No.
Why not?
Okay, so the vaccine had, I think, 17 reiterations or something.
Yeah.
So my wife's mother is a physician. She's a doctor.
Okay.
Okay. When COVID happened, by the way, we're in Maryland, so I'm sure that influences whatever. But she's a Republican. She does her research. She talks to other doctors and scientists and all that. She told me, and she's my physician, she said, get the shot. I got the shot. She said, and right there, she said, in 6 months, you'll need a booster. Great. I got the shot. I got the booster. Then when the next one came out, she was like, fuck that. Don't get that one.
Really?
Yeah. And I didn't get any sense.
So she knows that now it's bullshit.
I didn't ask her. So she's actually flying into Florida tonight, and I'll see her tomorrow when I fly in. And that's a good question.
I would be like, where, I want her to know if you could do things over, would she recommend the shot to you? I would love to know that answer.
Text me that, and I will ask her.
What
listen, I'm not a fucking expert, and neither is CNN or Fox or whoever.
Nobody.
So when my doctor, who I trust, who's done the research, says take the shot, I'm gonna take the shot.
Yeah.
So that's why I did it.
And you've put crazy shit in your body from war. So I mean, when you were serving, so you've had to take.
I remember being in boot camp. My goodness, you get to boot camp, literally picture like a big room.
Yeah.
And it's a couple hundred people lined up.
Yeah.
And you're walking through, and these Navy corpsmen are sticking needles in your arms, and you don't know
what's going on.
I had no idea what they were even shooting me with.
Yeah.
I knew I had like 8, 9 different shots at the same in like 5 minutes.
And the thing is, a lot of military are having health issues that they might be routed to that, which is why I think a lot of them bucked against being forced. That's why a lot of them lost their careers.
Yeah, I got a buddy, I work out with F3. And by the way, men, if you're not an F3, go to f3nation.com or .org. One of those, Google F3 Nation. 3F stands for Fitness, Fellowship, Faith. It's all free, open to all men. Doesn't matter what your religion, color, whatever, age, none of that matters. Open to all men. One of the guys we work out early in the mornings, and it's a global group. One of the guys we work out with, his name is Airwolf. He's a pilot in the Navy. Had to get out of the Navy after
not taking
quite a time because he decided, because they were making him do it. Yeah. And it was a big decision for him.
I wonder if they're going to let him have his job back at this point.
I have no idea what's going on. I got to talk to him, but I know he was not in a good place last year around this time.
It's nuts. All right, that is the Don't Get the Shot seat. We'll be right back. So we're a couple minutes coming up on the end of what might be the end of the episode for those that are watching on Area 52, if this still goes up on Area 52. So before we get done, we have not talked about everything that I set in front of me. So we'll do quick stuff when we get back. We'll maybe get out of politics and talk a little bit about motivation and what he does, what your BS is. We're going to get into that. So make sure you stick around for it. But if you're only watching the first 58 minutes, where can people find you, Eric?
Oh, everywhere. Eric Konovalov or Instagram, LinkedIn. I mean, go to thegoalguide.com and you'll see my website. Connect with me there.
Perfect. What else was I going to tell you before we ended this episode? Yeah, so we're going to talk about how you became a Marine, and then we're going to talk about the businesses you're working on when we get back at the end of this, before the end of the episode. So make sure you join us. If you're watching on there, I forgot to mention the beginning of the episode, Patreon. If you want to support this show, we could use all the help we get. As I said, sick of giving hand jobs. Patreon.com/Blunt Force Discussion. Again, that's Patreon.com/Blunt Force Discussion. Or if you like the gear, I have my Awake Not Woke hat. I don't have it. But either way, we don't have BFT. You got to be a BFT. You got to be on the show to get it. I'm going to give this to Eric right now. Eric, here you go. You're an official BFT.
Thank you. This is awesome.
But any of the gear, go to awakenotwokestore.com, except for that hat. That's the one thing you can't get. Awakenotwokestore.com, awake for 15% off. And we'll be right back with the rest of this episode. Theoretically, people do. The numbers are very, very big. I don't know if it's accurate, but whatever. Leave it there. All right, so Let's see. Let's get a little positivity. So you're the goal guide. You have a podcast. So talk about first. Before we finish with the military, because I wanted to make sure we never got to that point. How did you end up joining the military? Why did you join the military?
Man, I was such an knucklehead growing up. Always in trouble. Like, I think I took pride in it. My wife threw out my folder of every time I got suspended or expelled. I got expelled 7th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade.
From all these different schools? So you have to keep going to different schools?
Same school. When you get expelled, they kick you out for 2 school semesters. So, but because it's a public school, they have to provide education. So they either gave you a home tutor or you had to go to alternative school. So twice I got a home one, and then once I went to an alternative school. So here I am in 11th grade, and most of my friends are going off to college or computer school, and I'm done with education at this point. I just wanted nothing to do with it. So I see an Army commercial. I'm like, okay, this looks cool. I'll go check that out. Now, nobody in my family has ever been in the military. It's peacetime. I think the only thing going on back then was maybe Kosovo. So I go to a recruiter's office, and it was one of those that had all the branches. Now, I know nothing about the Marine Corps at this point.
Yeah.
The Army guy looked like Peter Griffin when I walked in there. I walk in, it's Saturday morning. There's just chubby, short, bald, glasses, goofy uniform. Sorry, Army dudes, that's just what I got. Maybe a mustard stain here or there. I'm looking at him, I'm like, this is definitely not what I'm picturing. So
Yeah.
I walk out, I go into the Air Force. And I knew Army, Air Force, Navy. Air Force guy was like his twin brother. Navy guy was out to lunch. So literally depressed, dude. I'm walking out to my car, and before I get to the door, out of some corner, I hear, what are you, too chicken shit to come in here? So I walk in there, this dude sitting there, Patrick Animal Griffin. Looked like Johnny Bravo with brown hair, right? He's wearing his Charlie's green shirt. Muscles are popping out of his arm. I like man crush instantly. Behind him, he's got pictures of him and his boys on tanks on the beach, like holding big ass guns. I'm like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
So that Saturday, that was on Saturday. I was 17 years old at this point. That Monday, he comes to my school, and he's wearing his Deltas. This is the blue trousers, green short sleeve shirt, still muscles popping out, white cap. Every girl I had a crush on melted.
Was in love with him.
Dude, melted instantly. That's how I joined the Marine Corps.
That's epic. I didn't know that story. That's funny as hell. And then how many years did you serve?
8.
8? Gotcha. So are you on, what kind of benefits? Do you still get pretty full benefits for serving 8 years? Because you were wartime, weren't you?
Yeah, but you got to be disabled. I get a little bit of disability here and there for hearing and some other stuff.
What?
But yeah.
Yeah, got it. Okay.
A little bit, but it's not, you don't have to get benefits. They
Yeah.
test you. So before you get out of the military, they test you. And technically, if you get out in a worse condition than when you came in, usually they'll find some kind of a disability for you because a lot of these are long lasting. So you might not feel it, I got out, I was 26. You might not feel it at 26, but you've done enough damage that you'll feel it at 41
Yeah.
or 50. So it's a good thing that they do. And, 5 years ago, I realized I had a birth defect. I ended up in a hospital for some back pain, and it was a heart birth defect.
Right.
So I didn't have insurance at the time. I went to the VA. Thank God for the VA. They found through some tests that I had a heart defect, ended up getting open heart surgery to fix my stuff, all for free.
Wow. Oh, that's bonus. That's good. Forgot you have the heart defect, which leads me to, we got to get you on the glutathione stuff. I want to make sure you get all that crap out of your body from the
Talk to my doctor.
from the jibbity jab.
Yeah.
No, the doctor. Well, your what is your mother-in-law? What is it?
Yeah.
See, we'll talk to your mother-in-law. I really want to know what she says.
You should have her on your show, man. She's legit former communist. Like she couldn't go to medical school because she was Jewish.
Wow.
She became a doctor there through some like hoops and paying people off. And then when she came to America, they're like, "Yeah, we don't take your what is that doctor degree doesn't count here."
What is this? I don't even know what this is.
So
That's
not
awkward.
speaking English, she went through medical school here and got her doctorate here.
Wow.
Now she's so freaking wanted in that area that years ago she went concierge because insurance companies fuck doctors so much.
Oh, bad. Especially
in
natural.
order to be her patient, you got to pay her like $1,200 for the year, and then the insurance kicks in.
No shit.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So all the motivational stuff we're gonna, I guess, will end with because now you brought up the Jewish thing, and I want to bring it up. Obviously, big news is Kanye or Yeezy, yay, yada yada, whatever. I'm gonna ask before I give my bias. What is your opinion on all of it? Because you're Jewish, I'm half Jewish.
It's hard, bro. It really is hard because I'm such a believer in freedom of speech, and I don't believe there is a thing called hate speech or enticing a speech that entices violence. Like there is speech, and then there are people that take that and they decide to get violent about it, right? There's what happened, and then there's how you feel about what happened. So this is a tough one because I am Jewish. I think Kanye could have phrased it a little bit better.
Bing, bing, bing. Agreed.
I think he's not wrong, dude. Like the majority of the Jews in Hollywood own people like Kanye and own a lot of whatever. I don't know. I'm not
Black
in that
artists.
world.
Yeah.
I'm not in that world. I have no idea what's going on. So Kanye could probably speak to it better than I can, but talk about the Jews who are producers in Hollywood. And then I'd still question that, like, are all the producers Jewish? Are there any that are not? I don't know. I'm not in that world.
Is there any that are not? Yes. Is it predominantly Jewish? 100%. And in the beginning of the hip hop era, so I had Chad Jackson. I don't know if you haven't watched that episode, or if you haven't watched too many of these episodes, watch the one with Chad Jackson. He was one of the creators of Uncle Tom, the movie. And this was before this whole Yeezy thing blew up. It was right, we aired it right around the same time. But all he talked about is what is the issue with black culture right now? And he's a black guy. Black culture it's based off of, instead of religion, godliness, faith, family. Instead of all the three F's, instead of all that, it is, what do we think of when we think of a successful Jewish person? A business person, an accountant, a lawyer. What do we think of when we think of a successful Italian? A business person, a restaurant owner, or whatever. What do you think?
I thought mafia.
Mafia. Sorry. But that was back in the old days, but that has changed. But
I'm so racist, dude. When the fuck did I become racist?
But very accurate. And then when you think of a successful black person, and honestly, what's the first thing that pops into your head?
Football player.
Athlete or hip-hop artist. Plain and simple. So they have,
So Damon John didn't pop into my head. Jay-Z didn't pop into my head. Ray Lewis. Like, Ray Lewis was an athlete. Now he's a business person. I don't know. You're absolutely right. So what I think about is what I think about. That doesn't mean shit just because I think about it.
But it's the overriding theme is black success looks different, and that's what Kanye was getting at.
Wait. Time out.
Yeah.
You said black success looks different.
Absolutely.
But is that the truth?
No, it's not. That's the thing. It's not the truth. But that's the narrative. That is what Kanye is saying. Poorly phrased. Poorly phrased. That is what he is saying, is that there is this control by the media to make sure, first off, this whole civil rights movement is in question. If you watch Chad Jackson's interview and what he talks about. Civil rights, although, yes, it brought people together, but it was all planned by wealthy Jews. So it
Why?
was great. It could have been, so you have to look at it. Is it nefarious? And like they just want division? Maybe it's not. Or is it just they're so sympathetic, but they had a direction that essentially said, how do you get your voices heard?
Is that the truth?
The truth. The more of the evidence points. I mean, Martin Luther King was backed in communism and socialism. That was his belief system.
Martin Luther King's belief system was communism and socialism. I don't know about that belief system. I know his belief system about judge a man by his
great speech that he didn't write.
But I don't know, man.
But I'm saying there's so much more to it, and there's rabbit hole. If you were to tell me that I'd be questioning Martin Luther King a year ago, I don't know if I would. But again, the more research I do, but I think that is what, and that's why I was more open minded to what Kanye said, is because I was like,
remind me of what he said. What exactly are you?
So that's the thing. So they keep using, it's like the media, anti-Semitic remarks. He said that Hollywood, the music business is controlled by Jews. He said that the teachers were controlling his students by teaching him specific specifically Jewish messages.
But here's the thing, right? So
Yeah.
I'm Jewish.
Yeah.
I have a Star of David tattooed on my back.
Yeah.
Like, I'm Jewish. I'm not like a religious Orthodox Jew, but I'm Jewish. I'll never deny it. My grandmother fought in World War II. Her whole family was wiped out by the Nazis. Like, anybody, I got in trouble in the Marine Corps. I'll tell you like this. This is a good one. 19 years old. I'm in the Marine Corps, and I had a guy, and there was a lot of ignorant dudes in the Marine Corps as young kids. So he saw my Star of David that I used to wear a chain with a Star of David on it. Since my heart surgery, it would hurt a little bit. So
if it was rubbing there, yeah.
So he called me a kike.
Oh.
And I ended up whooping his ass. Like, just went dark, just started punching him in the face. And that was like a Saturday or Sunday. Monday morning, I'm in front of the sergeant major. The sergeant major is the highest enlisted in a command. Vietnam guy, black dude.
Yeah.
He said, and the guy that I beat up, he's high rank. He was a higher rank than I was. So I was a PFC. He was a Lance Corporal, just one rank up. But still, that's not something you do. So here I am in front of Sergeant Major, and he's like, all right, Kay, what happened? So he called me a kike. He said, what the fuck is a kike? I said, it's like somebody calling you the M-word, Sergeant Major. He said, what? I said, that's what it is. I'm Jewish. That's what he said. He said, you're free to go. That guy got in trouble.
Yeah.
So if you believe, just me and you talking here, if you believe that white privilege doesn't really exist, you can't possibly agree with Kanye. Because that's the same as saying Jewish privilege.
Yeah.
I'm Jewish. I don't own one record label.
Yeah.
I don't control any rapper.
Right.
Or anybody. I know tons of Jews who don't control.
Absolutely.
So by Kanye saying Jewish people control, I'll tell you, I was at breakfast with a guy. Love the guy. He's an F3 guy. Hardcore, man's man. We're having breakfast. I'm not going to tell you his Twitter or his Instagram handle because I don't want anybody to look bad upon him, but I absolutely look up to him, love him, man's guy. Like, he's the guy that makes men.
Yeah.
We're having breakfast. And he's like, you know what the problem with this country is? I'm like, what? He's like, Jews.
He didn't know you were Jewish, I take it.
So I said, you know I'm Jewish. He's like, I didn't know that. But still did not change his opinion on it. I said, okay, well, now I'm curious. I'm like, why do you believe Jews are the problem with this country? He said, they'll control the media. The media controls what we believe, think, and I'm like, okay, I could see your point. I don't disagree with your point. The media does control it. But you can't say Jews.
That's the problem with the phrasing.
Yeah, some Jewish guys, like the top 1% maybe.
The Jewish elite. You could say the Jewish elite.
The Jewish elite. But, you know.
Even that's a stretch, but
okay,
still.
But you can't believe that shit either because, look, if you fucking believe that slavery had effect from 400 years ago on how blacks live in America today, you can't buy into that philosophy of the Jews because the Jews almost got wiped off the face of the earth.
Truth.
Less than 100 years ago.
Truth.
With Hitler. So how in the fuck one makes sense and the other one makes sense?
Right.
It doesn't make sense.
No, I agree.
Because otherwise Jews would be poor and broke and, 6 million of them got wiped out. Either you believe it, you don't believe it.
He believes it. He even interviewed it. So I found his quotes, and here's my problem.
All right.
Just like the media. So I think the media is the problem. It just so happens that a lot of the Jews are leading. It just so happens that many of the leaders are Jewish. So, and he said, I don't hate Jewish people. He goes, I hate these specific Jews. So he had to clarify. But his quotes, his foremost anti-Semitic. This is the problem. I don't think they're anti-Semitic. But I prefer my kids' new Hanukkah from Kwanzaa. At least it will come with some financial engineering.
What does that mean?
It means that if he learns more about Jewish people, then he'll hopefully financially that'll help them more.
Why is that anti-Semitic?
Boom, exactly. Number two, I just think that's what they're about, is making money. Wes said in an apparent reference, he was talking about Jared Kushner and his Jewish family. Jared Kushner, in my opinion, is also a piece of shit. Am I an anti-Semite for thinking that? Does it have to do with him being Jewish? No, he's literally just talking about Jared Kushner. It happens to be that he's Jewish. Is that an anti-Semitic remark?
No.
The media would tell you otherwise. Planned Parenthood was made by Margaret Sanger, a known eugenics. Eugenics, with KKK to control the Jew population. When I say Jew, I mean the 12 lost tribes of Judah, the blood of Christ, who the people known as the race black really are. This is who our people are. This is an anti-Semitic remark. This is a questionable historical reference. The 12 tribes of Judah, this is black Israelite. There's some questions. It's not anti-Semitic. It's just a different spin on history.
Yeah, I don't get that.
Last one. This ain't a game. I'm going to use you as an example to show the Jewish people that told you to call me that no one can threaten or influence me. I told you this is war. Now we're going to get you some business. This is very poor grammar. But ultimately, it's just saying he's pissed at the Jewish people.
No, there was something else he said. DEF CON or something?
So here's I'll do that one. I'm a bit sleepy tonight, but when I wake up, I'm going DEF CON 3 on Jewish people.
So that's some Hitler shit right there.
So did he just mean to say DEF CON and he doesn't know that it's DEF CON, like the military terminology? Did he mean to say DEF CON? I saw this one too, and I'm like, I think he's just dumb in this sense.
I don't care what you say. Like, here's the thing. If I said that about black people, what would happen?
I'm going to go DEF CON on black people tomorrow?
Yeah. FBI will be at my house.
It might be racist.
Or on kids or on anybody. Dude.
This was his most questionable term.
Here's the thing. If Kanye walked by me the day he said that, I would punch him in his fucking face.
So he did continue that to say, the funny thing is I can't be anti-Semitic because black people are actually Jew. Also, you guys have toyed with me and tried to blackball anyone who ever opposes your agenda.
Who's you guys and who's your agenda?
The elite. I think it's the elite, the media. I think that's
then just say that.
So I think he's cuckoo. I don't think it's that was his most questionable statement.
The problem with cuckoo is that he's got followers.
Yeah.
And even though I believe he has the right to say that. Like, he doesn't have to like me if he doesn't have to like Jews.
Yeah.
Dude, you don't have to like blacks. I don't have to like anybody.
Yeah.
That's the beautiful part about this country. When I first moved here, I had a black friend. His parents came from Africa. They would not let him be friends with me. I can understand for the life of me why.
Jewish?
No.
Or non-black?
He's black.
I mean, I'm saying...
Oh, I have no idea. Dude. In Russia, you can be Jewish. Like, I'm Jewish, but we're not Jewish.
Yeah. No, but
we didn't even
I know
celebrate.
some black people that are just not fans of Jewish people. Like,
I had no idea what it was, right?
Yeah.
His name was Setu. Like, Setu. Like,
yeah.
He was my boy. We did everything together. I love that kid. He would tell me, you can't come in my house. We were in 7th grade. He's like, you're not allowed in my house. I'm like, why? You're white. He was allowed in my house. I wasn't allowed in his. There are these preconceived... I don't know, but here's the beauty of this country.
Yeah.
We can believe whatever the fuck we want. We can do whatever we want. We can say whatever we want.
But companies can't... There are repercussions. Yes. Sorry, I interrupted you. But there are repercussions
for what you say.
I'm fine with him losing companies, with him losing Adidas, which, by the way, was formed by a Nazi. But I'm fine with all of him losing this. But what I'm not okay with is a major bank being allowed to fire him as a client. I think that's where we're pushing it, because that is the livelihood of an American, in a sense that, like, now you've lost control of your, you can lose jobs, but it's almost, they didn't take his money, but it didn't allow him to manage his money. I have an issue with the banking part.
Okay, would you be okay if after 9/11, Osama bin Laden was allowed to have money in the bank account in America?
No, he's not an American, though.
Let's say he was.
If he was an American citizen?
Yeah.
No, actually, no, I wouldn't be okay, because he killed people. Difference. There's one is words, one is killing people.
So if a crazy lunatic listens to Kanye, who follows Kanye, who's got a lot of influence on American people, young American people, ends up killing a Jewish boy in New York.
Yeah.
At that point, would you be okay with it?
I blame the media. I think, because again, I think we've just covered that his remarks were not that. I'm sorry. I don't think they were anti-Semitic. I think they were.
I saw him on an interview, and he had a chance, and I can't remember the interview, but he had a chance to explain what the fuck he's talking about. Like, all he had to do was say, I'm talking about the elites in LA who control the music industry and the entertainment industry. I'm not obviously talking about all the Jewish people. He did not. He went 100%.
Harder. He doubled down.
He doubled down.
I can see that.
That's
I
an
also
Anthony
think
Russo thing. And that's an ego thing.
Yeah.
And that's where, because at first Julia told me, my whole thing is, as soon as anything comes about, did you hear what so-and-so said? I'm like, I don't give a fuck. He can say whatever he wants, but then I actually listened to it, and it was that last DEF CON comment.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, that's fucked up.
Yeah, that one is fucked up. Yeah. Okay.
And that's the only one that got me. And then I'm like, okay, well, maybe he just meant elites, because I didn't understand what he's talking about. He doubled down.
Okay.
So I don't know. I think a man should be able to say, you know what? I was angry. I didn't say what I meant. Here's what I meant.
It's funny because I've heard him say I didn't mean Jews.
I didn't hear that.
So but again, there's also a million interviews he's done. All right.
If he said it, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. But again, I do think that's a bad comment. All right, 10 minutes. We're gonna wrap in 10, but I want to make sure we get into obviously what you're talking about with your BS. What is BS? What are you working on right now with your wife? Yeah, a couple just positivity stuff because we've talked more politics. Because you don't follow politics as much as me, so I didn't think we'd really quite get into all that as much. But
yeah, I'm starting to, just because I personally believe that the local elections are the ones that matter.
Most important.
They're most important. That's the ones that are going to make the difference. And by the way, I got that from the Great American Summit last year. Who was the speaker? Was it either Jacob Buyens or
Nick?
It was
Nick
or it was
talked.
Nick.
I think it was Nick talked a lot about the local elections.
Nick talked about it. Yeah, it was Nick. It was Nick Vujicic.
Which we'll be doing again this year. Make sure you go to greatamericansyndicate.com. You don't have that.
Oh, man, what a great event.
Yeah.
What an event. It's an event for even Jews. Even Jews can enjoy it.
Are you making a joke about how it's cheap to get into? No, just kidding.
No, you are.
What was I going to say? Go to greatamericansyndicate.com. It's going to be in Gillies in Dallas, June 2nd and 3rd. All right, so
Best event ever.
how did you get into motivational speaking?
I don't think I'm a motivational speaker.
How did you get into coaching? Because you do performance coaching.
I do coaching. Our BS is our belief system.
Yeah.
Just like I told you about the way you put your pants on.
Yeah.
Right? Like, how did that come about? When do you question what you believe?
Right.
So performance coaching, I got into it when I hired my coach. I was at a point in my life, I was making six figures. I was working a corporate job, leading a sales team, doing really well. Driving a BMW, 5-bedroom house. Like, you looked on the outside my Facebook, man, I was the happiest guy in the world. Killing it. I'm like one step down from taking selfies on a private jet. You know what I mean? With Lambos that aren't mine.
Yeah.
Inside, I hated every single moment. I didn't like what I saw in the mirror. I didn't know where I was going. I had no direction. It's like I didn't like where I was. I had no idea where to go. But everything looked good on the outside, and inside is just, I don't even want to get out of bed.
Yeah.
And somebody introduced me to a life coach. So I started working with her, and she got me into journaling, meditating, visualizing, using my imagination. That was in 2014.
Yeah.
And that's where my personal growth journey started. And as I started doing these things, I started kind of realizing that I'm the creator. I can create my own future. What happened to me in the past, nothing I went through really mattered. Like, today can be day zero for me. And I started creating this life that I dreamt of, man. I ended up, less than 10 years later, I'm in Florida living my dream life, doing exactly what I want to do. And it all, I think if I had to kind of rewind, where did that come from? It was from visualization and journaling and meditating and uncovering my beliefs and taking them to court. What I mean by that is, like, you're a prosecutor and you're the defense attorney, right? Like, throw your belief up. Why do I believe this? And if you don't know your beliefs, because a lot of us don't, they're so subconscious, right? It's like, picture you're a computer. Well, unless you have the Microsoft programs installed, you won't be able to open up Microsoft Word or Excel or PowerPoint.
Right.
You just won't. And so if you want to be a millionaire, but you don't have $1 million in your account, you're not programmed to be a millionaire.
Right.
That just did. By their fruits, we'll know them. Right? I think that's in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big Bible guy. But so I started getting into this whole new world and realizing that we are spiritual beings.
Yeah.
We're in a physical body and we're given we were gifted an intellect by our Creator. Now, I'm not religious at all. I don't go to a synagogue. I don't go to church. I don't follow anybody's religious beliefs. I think religion is not for me. But I do believe there's a Creator. And I believe that we're all connected. And I believe that, where does God begin and you end? If God is omnipresent, then that means God is in me somewhere. And if God's in me, then how am I limited? And I started realizing this, and I started applying this into everything that I do. And all those things, all those fears that I would have, kind of, hey, would God be afraid of this? And then I opened up a company, man. Opened up a company, started with leadership training, started with sales training, and then executive coaching. And what I realized through executive coaching was that every executive who was stuck was not stuck because of the business. They were stuck because either something going on with their family or their beliefs.
Yeah.
It's what they believed about themselves. They kept them back. So I know people think I'm a motivational speaker. I'm the furthest thing from a motivational speaker. I'm the guy, I think, if I had to label myself, I'm the guy that helps you realize what your beliefs are and help you realize how you're believing some shit that you learned when you were 6 or 2 that are still running you at 35 or 40. And we don't have to live that way. We can just create a whole new life starting, like right now you can start.
Yeah. Speaking of right now, what are you working on with your wife? I know she's finally joined your team, and you're working on kind of new projects.
Yeah, man, communications. So I've been certified through DISC. I don't know if any of you guys have heard of DISC. It's a personality assessment. But what we realized is that when you show up 6 months after teaching DISC, people don't remember what letter they was, what it means, how do you communicate with others. So we got certified through something called Flight with DISC. And the reason why we did that is on top of all the coaching and training and sales that we do in my podcast, I think communications is the biggest thing that's missing in companies and in families. I'll give you an example with me and my wife. Like if I tell you what characteristics does an eagle have, what would you say?
Strength, pride, leadership, maybe a little bit of aggression.
Decisive.
Yeah.
And then, you look at an eagle, they're not flying with anybody else. They're up kind of above the forest. They got a 10,000
leadership
foot view. They're not asking a board of directors for permission to do shit. They see a rabbit.
Elon Musk is an eagle.
I'd say he's an owl. I'd say Donald Trump is an eagle.
Okay, got it. All right.
Trump is an eagle. He's not asking anybody for shit, right?
Yeah.
And too much of an eagle can hurt you, as we see. So eagle, that's one personality style. That's your D. Parrot. If you look at parrots,
Party animals.
They're colorful, they're funny, they're loud, they're always in a group, they're social. That's your parrots.
Yeah.
Then you got the doves. Dove, the bird of the Olympics, the harmony, the peace, security. That's the dove.
Boring. Gotcha.
Not boring. Come on, there's no bad style.
I'm just kidding.
But that's your dove. And then you have your owls. When I say what's an owl?
Owl is always watching what's going on, paying attention to the world around them. Analytical.
Analytical, yeah. Most people say wise, but all the birds can be wise at times. But yeah, owl is very analytical, and they're night hunters, right? They're lone birds. They're gonna do it by themselves. They're gonna get it right. So those are the 4 personality styles. So what I realized was that I am an eagle and a parrot combination, and my wife is a dove and an owl.
Oh, wow.
She's bigger owl and a dove combination. And we usually tend to, opposites attract, right?
Yeah. Well, she's good looking. You're not. So, yeah, of course.
Yeah, I'm an ugly parrot, and she's a beautiful dove.
Yeah.
Yeah, and look at this beak. By the way,
you do kind of have a bird beak.
I do have a beak. Yeah, that's my eagle. The worst roast I ever had in school, by the way. I'm going back and forth with this kid. Like, you remember that your mama saw this, your mama saw that. And a kid says, hey, Eric, if I threw some bird seed on the floor, would you peck it up?
That is a good one.
That was it roasted me. I still feel it today. And this nose, I don't know if you guys see it.
He knows how to get you. Yeah.
My head was smaller back then, but the nose was about the same size. Yeah, so I grew into it a little bit. Yeah, that one stung. So I've been an eagle since I was a little guy. So what I realized was that, eagles and parrots, they make decisions very quickly, where doves and owls, they want to make sure they make the right decisions. They're
Right.
going to analyze things. So in my family, what would happen is I would say, hey, honey, I'm going to go get a new car. And she would say, wait, hold on. What do you want to get? Let me take a look. And she would start doing her analysis.
Teamwork, yeah.
And I would get so pissed off at this. It wasn't teamwork.
Oh.
I would get frustrated because I'm like, I know what I want. I just want to go get a new car.
Yeah,
If she wasn't in the picture, I would go get a new car. Dude, I've been in situations where I've taken her car for an oil change and came back with a new car, right? She doesn't do that. She needs to analyze. She needs to make sure she gets the right car. She doesn't want to make mistakes. Now, before you understand that there are these personality styles that just naturally exist, what happens is you get frustrated. So to me, that meant she doesn't trust me to make the decision. She wants to question me. She's bringing me down. I'm trying to be free.
I would love to have been a fly on the wall when you were talking about what you're doing with the crypto stuff with your wife being the analytical one. But anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, dude. So this is 15 years later, right?
Yeah.
So now, literally, when I did that, she said, I trust you. And I mentioned a smaller amount, right?
Yeah.
So, I'm a sales guy. I know how to talk to them now. So, but then when we took the personality styles and I realized that she's an owl, I couldn't get angry anymore. I now look at her and I'm like, okay, she's doing what owls do. Like, you're not going to get mad at a dog for barking when somebody walks by the house.
Yeah.
That's what dogs do.
Yeah.
You're not going to get mad at a fish because he can't climb a tree. Fishes don't climb trees.
Yeah.
Right? And so when I understood that that's her personality style, that's her strength. It's not that she doesn't want me to get a new car. She cares about me making the right decision for the family. Now the way I make decisions that are bigger is, hey, honey, I'm thinking about this. Can you figure out what the best option would be? You think 3 days
Utilize
is enough?
her strength.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't get frustrated. But now take this into the corporate world. You're an eagle as a sales rep. You go into an office, to your boss's office, and he's an owl. And that he needs all the details. Eagles don't like details. Eagles just see the big picture. They want to go do it. So you come in and you say, here's what I'm going to do. You okay with that? And he said, wait. Can you give me a spreadsheet? Can you give me a report? I need charts. I need graphs.
Don't
I need
get
you
mad
to
at him
present
for
it
it.
for me.
That's
The
how it
Eagle's
works.
going to feel like he's not trusted. He
Right.
thinks he's an idiot. He doesn't. But once we teach in the corporate world that, hey, it's not that he doesn't trust you. He needs this to understand to allow you to do it.
Yeah.
It's a whole different ballgame. We eliminate drama.
I like that. All right, well, we're gonna wrap up. Last thing I want to ask, because obviously we did a lot of work with crypto, so I'm gonna ask two final questions. We'll make it quick. The final thing I'm gonna have you do is just give some positive words of where we're going as a country, where you would give advice to people in relationships, all that. But first off, where do you think crypto? You spend a lot of time in crypto, not just like Bitcoin and Ethereum. You do a lot of the, I guess, not like yield farming, but I guess clubs. I don't even know what you would call what we kind of do. You do it at a much higher scale than I do. What do you think about the world of crypto in the future? Where would you recommend people start to invest their money if they're looking into crypto as part of their diversification in their portfolio?
Yeah, no, well, I'm no crypto expert, so this is not financial
Which is the key.
advice.
Nobody wants to be a crypto expert. I think that's the key.
Yeah.
I think the key behind it is, what is there ways to do to mitigate risk and growth?
Yeah. So I did what a lot of people don't do, and I got into these multi-level marketing crypto organizations. A lot of them are yield farming, which means you take your whatever crypto, you take it off the public market, and you stake it, and they pay you rewards.
It's like Hex. Hex did something like that, and that was one people.
Yeah, they're
know.
great. I mean, we've done it. I mean, you're in Trilliant, and I think you should put your Trilliant link in because Trilliant's going to explode. It's coming out in the public market. We got to buy it at 5 cents. It's now 10 cents. So imagine putting $100,000 into a 5-cent project to turn to 10 cents. You double your money right away. So there are a lot of those out there. Now, we also got burned, right? We put some
Medify.
money in. Oh, my God, that was terrible. but they were paying out 4.2% per day.
I was at your 10,000. They were paying 3 to 3. Yeah, 3 for me, but yeah.
Dude, I mean, I lost.
I thought we'd make it 6 months on that one. It didn't work out.
Yeah, and
Didn't
I
even
started
make it.
right away too, and I started like a weekend. Anyway, that just went bankrupt. So, crypto, I would say, things like Bitcoin and Ethereum, long term, you're gonna make money.
Yeah.
So dollar cost average, you have a couple, you got $10, $20, $30, $100. Put it in there. Every paycheck, just put a little bit in, buy a little bit more, keep buying it. At the end, in the next 5, 10, 15 years, crypto is going to be, I think, worth a ton.
Yeah.
So that's where I am with crypto. Continue to buy into it, but do your research.
And make sure it's just a portion of your portfolio.
Yeah,
but
it's
it
got to
is
be a
something
portion
great.
of your portfolio, and also use money that you're okay with losing. And I'm not talking about Bitcoin or Ethereum. I think those two are here to stay for the long term. I think they're going to hit 6 figures. Bitcoin, well, I don't know much about Ethereum. But don't put don't go take out a loan and put it in here. That's probably not a smart move.
Yeah.
It's money that you're okay with losing. Like if you lose it, you'll be fine. Put
Yeah,
money
have a little
like
fun
that
with
in
it and
Yeah.
see what can happen. And before Emilio's first episode with us becomes also our longest, we're about 3 minutes away from our longest. So let's have you give some positive words to the people out there and also where they can find you.
Okay, I've never had anybody say I was the longest anything. So can we please be the longest today?
3 minutes and 1 second. There you
All
go.
right, 3 minutes and 1 second.
Hopefully Emilio doesn't have to pee.
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, give some positive words. Where we're going as a country, what you would tell some if somebody said, "Give me your one best piece of advice right now, Eric, help me out." What do I got?
I think one best piece of advice is that you got to realize that you're in control of your own shit. The beautiful part about this country is that no matter who's in power, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, it doesn't fucking matter. You can be whatever color you want. We live in the greatest country in the world. I firmly believe that because of the opportunity we have. You want to start a business. There are kids, little kids, making tens of millions of dollars by recording themselves playing with toys on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your excuse? You have a kid? Go record and play some toys. We're playing with some toys. I don't know, right? The future of this country is the same as it's always been. There's no different. I think men need to step the fuck up. I think there's a war against masculinity. I think men need to raise men because men win wars. And the second we become weak enough with soy boys and people who are crying for fighting or for working 40-hour weeks, China attacks. It's not Russia. It's going to be China, Russia, Iran all together. And we got to create people that they don't want to attack.
Yeah.
And how does that happen? Well, it happens by example. So, men, it's not about being the toughest. By the way, if you want to be the toughest, though, you have to be able to keep the promises you make to yourself. So, that's my belief. Create a value system about your, if we want this country to do well, every single person in this country needs to have a value system that they truly follow, set goals, take responsibility for raising your kids, take responsibility for everything in your life, the good, the bad, the ugly. We're in charge of it. We're creators. We can create, like tomorrow, you lose everything today, you can start from scratch. You have the ability to create anything you want. The question is, what the fuck do you want? Last week, I was at a party, and I pissed some people off really bad because this woman was giving me like 10 excuses why she's not where she wants to be. So I asked her a question. I said, let me ask you something. If I gave you $1 million right now, what would you do? She had no idea. No idea. So let me ask you, if I gave you $1 million right now, where would you spend it? What would you do?
Lamborghini. Just kidding. I hate Lamborghinis. Ferrari. But I'm kidding.
What do you do with the other 800?
Yeah, I know. Investments. I think people...
Where?
People piss that away.
Right.
Where would I invest? I would invest a little bit of real estate, maybe a little bit of crypto. I would diversify. I also know a little bit about investments, but I get your point 100%.
People don't know.
People don't know because they don't have a plan. If shit hits you with an opportunity and you're not ready for it, guess what? Those opportunities are going to keep going.
You don't even know it's an opportunity.
You don't. Where can people find you? One more time.
Well, I'm Florida, #1, best state ever. Everywhere online, just
down.
Eric Cannavalo right there below my name, the gold guy. Before that dude put gay lover under it. That was hilarious. Yeah.
Not my gay lover, maybe. I don't know. God,
Yeah, we don't know
I just
yet.
realized now that it's dark.
It's
this
still
is a new
early. We
season,
still
the
have
dark-
some tequila left.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going to happen.
I know. Anyways, thank you so much, Eric. This has been Blunt Force Discussion. If you want to support, as always, go to, I was about to say bluntforce.mymoney. No, patreon.com/Blunt Force Discussion. Thank you. Needed the help on that one. Blunt Force Discussion. Make sure you help us out, please. $5 a month would be great. There's starving people in my house, which is me. Not really. I'm looking a little thick. Thank you, guys, and I'll catch you next time.